All right, the time is right now. The time is right now for you to make a plan to get out of your grandmama's basement. She called me. She is sick and tired of your broke ass, dingy butt down there and old underwear flipping meme coins late into the night. All right. Something's got to change. And don't give me the whole, but Mr. Wolf, I missed Bitcoin. And then I missed Ethereum. And I missed Solana. So now I'm flipping these weird ass meme coins down there. Come on. Have some dignity. Have a compulsion to be something, to be somebody, to make your grandmama proud of you. All right. And maybe I'm going to help you. And that's why you're here. Actually, I am going to help you because I found something that's going to make you enough cash to buy fresh underwear for you and your grandmama and every grandmama for the next 50 generations. All right. It's really simple, actually. It's one asset, and I'm going to show you all about it in 3 steps. I'm going to show you some vintage videos so you understand how to not miss this one. I'm going to show you the charts, where we're at, what's going on, and then really quick, I'm just going to give you your price targets so you know how many panties you're actually going to be able to buy. And it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, and get ready to soil whatever you got on. All right, let's go. This is the first video. This is from a news network. It's from 11 years ago. Your boy St. Wolf did some hunting for you. All right, but let's check it out. There's a lesson in here, okay? Let's listen to what he has to say.
I am a Bitcoin miner. Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency, basically a virtual form of money. Bitcoin is controlled by a software algorithm. In order to control the amount of Bitcoins that are released into the economy, the algorithm determines that there's only so many that are mined during a certain period of time. Currently, that is 25 Bitcoins are found about every 10 minutes or so. Those people that are mining contribute to the overall, computing power of the network.
25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. That's what he said, right? I'm going to play that really quick again. It's important.
People that are mining contribute to the overall, those people that are mining contribute to the overall, computing power of the network. You're only going to get rewarded, in essence, whatever percentage of that power your computers are putting out. So those are the graphics cards right there. Those are what are doing all the work. Most miners are probably earning fractions of Bitcoins. Standard computer that you'd basically see any gamer having. So I started mining in 2011. So I invested about $800 to build this computer. At the time when I put it online, I was probably mining, 1 Bitcoin a day, something like that. In essence, all you're doing is downloading software and running software that's running 24/7 that are accepting these mathematical problems, solving the mathematical problems.
All right, he spent $800 back in 2000, what's this, 11? 2012 maybe. It's probably, the video is older than the release. It was released 11 years ago. I think it's much older than that. And so $800 by inflation, so that's about 80,000. We don't know. So he's spent about $800 and he's doing this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's mining for him. And he says he's getting about 1 a day, right? And I think he said 2.5 Bitcoin every 10 minutes is the general inflation of Bitcoin at this time.
And sending the results back up to, to a server. The fan, it's kind of annoying, but it's the sound of money. There's not really much technical know-how that you need apart from being able to keep a computer up running 24/7, but you don't have to be a programmer. Definitely don't have to be a cryptographer. Up to now, haven't really spent much of the Bitcoins apart from reinvesting them in new hardware. The new machines are basically going to be in a case. The next iteration will hopefully have a quieter fan and make more money. If you want to make money with Bitcoin, mining is not the way to do it. You're better off trading Bitcoin. When trading Bitcoin, there's a lot greater risk.
Okay, this is a great video because I don't know where he is right now. Hopefully he didn't start trading. Maybe he did and he lost it all. And he's just sitting in Thailand right now. But hopefully he realized that just stacking the Bitcoin was the way to go. And he's on a yacht right now. Good for him. Because the thing is, remember, at the time, no one knew the value of this. Nobody understood how high it would go. Because one, people didn't understand demand. Okay. And number two, people didn't understand the inflation / deflation. Okay, because yes, it's inflating because it's releasing Bitcoin into the market, but there's also a halving. So it took a couple cycles, which is 8 years, a halving is 4 years. It took that for people to realize how exponential the value can grow. All right. But what's the takeaway we got from this? So he said he was getting, Bitcoin was releasing 2.5 Bitcoins every 10 minutes, and he was able to get about 1 a day running his software 24 hours a day, his computer. So he was burning electricity, paying an electric bill, paid for the hardware, and in return, he got this thing called Bitcoin. And at the time, people were getting thousands of Bitcoin. Okay. Before him, it was, you were getting not just 1 a day, people were getting 100 a day. Okay. And there was famously a pizza that somebody paid 10,000 Bitcoin for a pizza, right? So nobody understood the value because it was inflating astronomically fast in the beginning. And then the inflation slowed down and it became harder and harder to mine the Bitcoin. Now there's very few released. I don't know what the actual estimate is. Maybe it's, maybe it's 1 a day somewhere. I'm not sure, but the mining systems are massive now. They're huge warehouses, okay? You can't do it at home. You're probably not going to get very far, okay? So we see that in the early days, there was an asset you could get by pretty much paying electricity and having some hardware, okay? And eventually there was a point maybe after the second halving that people stopped selling it, that people stopped even trading it. People just started hodling. They just started, when they'd mine it, they would get it and they would keep it, unless you were a mining business per se, right? So that's really interesting. Now, what if there was an asset that came out in the last year or two that was similar to this, but instead of having to buy hardware and pay electricity, you could possibly stake assets you already have and from there mine or farm another asset. And it also has similar inflating properties, but also has a property about it that makes it, reduces that over time. Okay, so that the growth of it could be exponential, where we have one of those, okay? And it's this guy. It's called the INC token, okay? Incentive token. It's a big green king, all right? And I think it is going to be one of the next and biggest institutional assets crypto has ever seen. And there's a number of reasons for that, all right, that I'm going to show you, all right? Now, how do the tokenomics of inflation of this asset compare to Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin inflated at 2.5 every 10 minutes at that time, around that time of that video. This is inflating right now at 1 per second, or 600 of these every 10 minutes. So it has a higher token value, okay? There's just many more of these tokens, okay? Now, how it works is after the token supply reaches its full amount, which is this year in the second year, it begins reducing fractionally every year after. So the next year, the token inflation will cut in half, okay? And the year after that, it will cut down to a third. And the year after that, into a fourth, and a fifth, and a sixth, and a seventh, and so on in perpetuity, all right? So you can think of it, so instead of being rewarded for mining, okay, and then every 4 years the reward is reduced, with INC the inflation just goes down by these decreasing fractions every year. And right now you can mine these from your computer with assets you already have. You don't need to burn electricity. So you can almost think of this not only as a new Bitcoin, a chance to get in at the bottom, but it's a green Bitcoin. It's a green Bitcoin for the future, okay? Because at some point, they're literally tapping into volcanoes for geothermal energy to mine Bitcoin. It's cool, it's great. Bitcoin's done an amazing run. I would say it's approaching that area where it'll be a store of value, and institutionally the price will level out, okay? But where are you in this? You need to get in the next Bitcoin. You need to be in the next one, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you something, another video really quick, and I'm gonna break this down a little bit more for you, all right? Let me play for you this really cool video. This was another guy from early days of Bitcoin, and this is what he was using to get his Bitcoin.
Just wanted to make a video to show my mining setup that I've got going currently. It's earning pretty good. This is the room I've got it in my basement where it stays pretty cool to keep these cards cool. The setup is 4 5850s. The Asus ones, they have really good coolers on them, stock. But you can't get them anywhere, maybe eBay now. An AMD Sempron 140, just a really slow, crappy processor, because you don't need high CPU at all. Gig of RAM, because you don't need RAM. In fact, the RAM on the cards doesn't even matter, so that's not even, you can downclock that when you're playing with your overclocking settings. I've got 320 gig hard drive, and this really bitchin' 1250 watt OCZ power supply. It's really a monster. It's got a giant fan on it. It cools really well. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with all the hardware that we got. I'm using Windows 7, but I'm planning on switching to Linux soon. Mainly because I can script a lot of the stuff. A lot of the overclocks can be done. There's a lot of good command line utilities.
All right, there you go. So this was your hardware setup back in the day. And as I said earlier, now you need a warehouse of equipment like this, hydraulically cooled, with water cooling, for this to work. Because you just have the reward is so low, you need a tremendous amount of hash power to crack the codes to get the Bitcoin, to make it very simple. All right, now what do you do to get this incentive token? All right, well, right now, you come here. This is called PulseX. This is one of my favorite protocols in crypto right now because it just works so incredibly well. It just came out not even 2 years ago, just a little over a year ago. And same with an incentive token. And no one knew what it was, incentive token. It's really interesting. I'm going to show you the tokenomics in just a minute. But just to show you, this is how you extract incentive token. So you would take, for example, you would... let's say you have USDT. Everybody has a little bit of USDT laying around, okay? You take that, you bridge it in, you pick up some Pulse. Pulse is the layer 1 token for this chain. This is the PulseChain, okay? And Pulse is that token, okay? And you bridge that in with your USDT, for example. And right now you're earning 63.71% on what you put in, okay? Just like plugging in your computer back at that period, and you have these things crunching the numbers for you, and they're going to extract a Bitcoin, hopefully, for you. One a day, as that first video guy was saying. Well, in this one, it's the same thing. It's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can come over to this calculator. So let's say I brought in $2,000 of USDT and $2,000 of Pulse. I picked up some Pulse. So I got $4,000 in here. How much will I earn? Well, it tells you right here. You're going to earn $1,423 in 1 year. But let's go to 1 day. Remember that guy was saying I was earning 1 Bitcoin a day? Well, look at this. Right now you're earning almost 3 incentive tokens a day. Now, he said something really interesting in that video. The first one, he said trading might be the way, because right now, just mining it's not that profitable. Well, because Bitcoin was just a few bucks then. It wasn't $50,000 or approaching $100,000, right? Now he would probably not trade at all. If he got a Bitcoin a day, he would just keep it. So in that same way, you got to realize this layer 1 just started, PulseChain, that this has been released on. Very similar to maybe 2010, 11 Bitcoin, where very few people know about it. Just people who know this chain are familiar with it. And it's very, 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 very early, okay? And so right now, if you were to put in, let's say this 4,000, and most people, you already have USDT, you're buying Pulse, which is another asset. It's a layer 1 whose market cap is not even $1 billion, okay? TonChain is at 15 billion, I believe. We'll go check that out in just a second. So this has a lot of room to grow. So your upside, you're not burning electricity just off into the wind and paying an electric company. You're actually holding 2 assets that you want anyway. All right, and you put them on here, and you earn almost 3 ink a day, okay? And we'll get into how much ink could be worth in the future, okay? But just imagine, 3 ink a day, $7 a day, and I don't know, 15x from here. You see how exponentially fast this can go up in 30 days, in 1 year. And remember, if you listen to what he said in the video, one could say the same thing. One could say like, well, it's not worth that much now. No, it's not. But people also don't understand those fractions and how exponentially fast the price can ratchet up, okay? Because the supply starts dropping very quickly. Same thing that happened to Bitcoin in essence. The reward started dropping extremely quickly, and the supply is becoming more and more scarce and limited. And same thing will happen here in time, okay? But it's very green. You don't have to keep exponentially mining more and more to get this. You just stake more and more assets that you already hold and like, that the assets themselves are going to appreciate in value as well. So it's like a win-win. For example, you can retake your incentive 2 and put it in here against Pulse or PulseX, which is this exchange's token, similar to Uniswap token or something like that. At the top, you've got Pulse and PulseX. You're getting 9%. Okay. And you have to imagine that the person who created this, they may add more farms in the future. These numbers can go up very easily and very quickly. So demand can go up very quickly for these tokens. And in the beginning, just like in the beginning of Bitcoin, people were dumping their Bitcoin in the market. Or for example, somebody bought a pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin, which to us seems crazy, but people didn't understand at the time how this inflation mechanics work, okay? You're releasing a lot of supply into the market, but then that ratchets back very quickly, which is what happened with Bitcoin. And that's what's going to happen here. As you see, the next year goes in half, and then a third of the supply is only released, and then a quarter, and then a fifth, and sixth, and then there's barely any supply being released at all. So the tokens are only what people have, and this price can go up exponentially, okay? Exponentially. Now, I'm going to show you a tweet from the creator of this. His name is Richard Hart. And he wrote something really interesting after a year ago about, let's say, okay? He said, up 50% today and 7x in 12 days, but I didn't talk about it. Incentive. The incentive token is very interesting, and here is why. It looks like half its only $70 million market cap is in PulseX liquidity pairs with PulseX and Pulse, that layer 1. It's minted only by PulseX farmers. The only people that hold it farmed it or got it from someone who did. The chart kind of looks like leverage on Pulse and PulseX. Okay, now, where is it at now? I can come over here really quick to see. It's at 120 million, so it's almost double from when he released this tweet a year ago. That's nothing, okay? So you released this when it was $70 million market cap. It's only $120 million market cap now. And he's saying it's leverage on the other two assets. These two assets are also brand new, okay? So if it's leverage, if Pulse does a 10x, Inc. automatically does a 20x, okay? Not to mention, as I mentioned, when people realize the supply starts coming down, people start taking it off the market and they stop selling it for pizzas and they start holding it and hoarding it and hodling it, the price is going to go up very, very quickly. Now, one thing I want you to take away from this that's really important is the only people that hold it, farmed it, or got it from someone who did. Now, a little known fact a lot of people don't know about Bitcoin, okay, it's an inconvenient truth, is that when Bitcoin came out, all the coins were not available. I think about 1 million Bitcoin were already in a origin wallet for Satoshi. You know, the whole rumor was one day Satoshi will wake up and sell all those, whatever. You know, the point is that it's there and they're just sitting there. Okay. When incentive came, and it's a common thing a lot of tokens do now. For example, Pulse and PulseX both also have a origin wallet, okay, that hold a large amount of tokens. They just stay there, okay. The interesting thing about incentive token is it doesn't. It was a completely fair launch, even more fair than Bitcoin. You can just buy it off the liquidity pools because it's DeFi, so the only people that hold it are the farmers who sell it on the market to buy pizza, so to speak. Or you go and farm it yourself, or you mine it, whatever word you want to use, okay? No one has a big supply. Nobody got a cut of it. No founder got any. There's no origin wallets. There's nothing, okay? And it's at $2.50. Market cap's $120 million. It's tiny, okay? And liquidity, it says liquidity is almost 20 million, okay? So as this grows, out of all the tokens I can think of that would go to an exchange and actually become a tradable asset by a hedge fund or at an institutional level would be incentive token, because they look for liquidity, and this has massive liquidity. They can move in and out like that at big things. So if you take this, and let's say this was at even just let's say this was at a $10 billion market cap, okay? $12 billion market cap. So we go 100x from here. So that's over almost $2 billion liquidity, that this would hold. There's plenty for big traders, large firms, hedge funds to dig into. They're going to ignore most other crypto assets. That's why they also like, things like Bitcoin or whatever, right? So incentive is already primed to become an institutional grade asset, and people don't even realize it because it literally snuck under the radar. Like, it just came out, no hype, it was a completely fair launch, all right? And I also think it's going to be one of the first tokens on exchanges out of the Richard Hart tokens that he's created, because he has no influence on it. He doesn't have any, there's no marketing for it. There's no origin, like I said, wallets. That's it. There's no mystery wallets. There's nothing. That's it. It's a farm or a pure miner's token. It's even more pure than Bitcoin was, okay? Because there's no Satoshi's wallet or mystery wallet. There's nothing, all right? And I recommend getting in and farming, all right? That's just the best way to start and start earning. Because like I said, though it seems, let's go to Pulse and DAI. Let's get DAI in here. It seems like, let's say you put in 5K and you're like, 5K is a lot of money. I could put that in, something else, Ethereum, and get my 2-3x or whatever. Well, look, you're going to get in 1 year 1,629 ink, okay? And right now the price is $250. But what if that ink was worth $100 an ink? What would that be? Well, that would be $163,000 in 1 year for you staking 5,000 right now. Not staking, you're farming. Okay, it's not wrong word, but you're just farming. You put up 2,500 of your DAI and 2,500 of the Pulse here, and you're going to get out when the price is, let's say, $100 an ink, which is extraordinarily easy to get to. This is going to be 100. That's a salary. You can raise a family on that. It's $163,000 a year. Okay, if this was $100 token. So right now, no. It would be, 162,000. So right now it's 250. So it's about 5,000 a year. So you're at least almost getting your money back. But right now it's just the beginning, just like Bitcoin was in the very early days. All right. Now I'm going to show you the chart. I'm going to look at that chart. All right. Now here's one thing I want you to know while I dig into this chart. Remember what I said at the very beginning of the video when I was teasing you about getting out of your grandmama's basement, all right? Because you weren't early to something. So now you're chasing memes, you're trying to flip whatever you can. Well, you got to realize that the people who bought Bitcoin early on, they didn't know what it was. Nobody knew what it was. That's why the man in the video said, hey, I don't know if it's good to hold these. I think you might make more money trading. He didn't even know what it was. He was just mining them, and they had some value. And he was kind of getting them for free, just like I already have some USDT and I already have some Pulse that I'm waiting for it to appreciate in value. I might as well just put them on the farm and earn the ink. In that same way, a lot of people are selling it. It's some people are holding it. Some people are doing a mix of both. People don't know what it is. They don't know what it could be worth one day. And that's what I'm expressing to you, that when you're early, it's hard to see it. It doesn't always make sense. Just like Bitcoin didn't make sense in the early days. People made fun of people that were mining Bitcoin. They really were. I met a miner in 2013. I didn't know what this guy was doing, what he was on. Okay. 2012, actually, I think it was. And in that same way, the new thing is going to look crazy as well. Not crazy, but just it's different. This is green Bitcoin. You're not going to mine anymore. That's the old days. You can actually use the crypto you have as leverage to generate this. That's the point, okay? Right from your computer, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm farming this, okay? And right now, the people that are selling it, they'll have stories in the future. Like, I had like 10,000 incentive token that I'd farmed, all year, and I sold it when it got to $10, Great, man. Right, yeah, you buy a nice car, put a down payment on something, pay off all your student loans. I get it, yeah. Maybe, this month you can just buy pizza with it. But if you can hold it in a few years from now, you can look back and say, oh yeah, I was early. I just stacked it. I just kept stacking them. And maybe you sell some, you stack the rest, whatever works for you. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. Now, remember I was saying this came out over a year ago. So this is May 2023. It came out with the rest of the layer ones. And it's been bouncing around. It's forming this beautiful pennant. Now, we're very early to this ecosystem. You see, I'm gonna bring this down to the daily here. See this gorgeous W here, double bottom, blasted off, came into the top of this range, came back down. I see another beautiful, beautiful W forming right here, okay? Not to mention, if you zoom in even closer, you see another W forming here, okay? So it looks extraordinarily bullish. Not to mention, I'm gonna show you this one's gonna really freak you out. This W here that, you know, is forming, okay? So this is going to break to the upside. Even if something, Russia, Ukraine, do some, whatever, I don't care. Maybe there's a little dippy poo, who cares? This is gonna reverse and it's gonna go up, and it's gonna go up brutally fast. In the way when this double bottomed and then this W, it did an incredible move and it's consolidated very nicely. Well, you got a W, a little W, and a bigger W, and a bigger W. This move is going to dwarf this move here. That's what I can tell you for absolute certainty. It's going to be an incredible move. It's going to reset the pricing of this asset at another level, okay? And I can also show you on the weekly, the RSI. It came from nowhere and it's going somewhere. This is pointed straight up to the sky. And you know what's really crazy too? Look closely. What do you see there? You see another W. All right. There's W's all over this place. There's more W's. Here's another W. And then look closely. What do you see here? Here's another W. This is probably one of the most bullish assets I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And the crazy thing is, nobody knows about it yet. Hardly anyone understands what this is yet. All right. Just like if I was talking to a crowd of people, just imagine it's 2011 and I'm talking to a crowd of people and someone comes to you and tells you, look, man, you can mine this thing. You're going to have to buy this $1,000 computer and I'm going to set you up and you pay the electricity. It runs all day. You're going to be like, yeah, I don't know about this thing. What are you going to do with these Bitcoins? Right? And that's saying no one sees it. Nobody saw it. And I'm telling you, no one sees this right now. And I think even if you have 1,000, just 1,000 INC, I think that could be quite life-changing for you. All right, but if you can farm your booty off, and you can get up to 5,000. I think you're going to be set for life in a few years. All right. Now, you want to know price targets, don't ya? All right. Let's go look at. I want to show you. Okay, so this is leverage. Remember this tweet I showed you guys where he mentions it's leverage on Pulse and PulseX. Okay, now Pulse is a layer 1 token. PulseX is the exchange token like Uniswap. This might be like the Ethereum of this decentralized network called PulseChain. Okay, now what kind of market caps do layer 1s hit? Well, let's go look. Let's go look. Okay, Ethereum came out in, what's it, 2016? 8 years. It's at almost $400 million market cap. Okay, but let's say Solana. Solana came out in like 2021, 22. It's already at $114 billion market cap. Cardano, which does nothing, is at $26 billion. Okay. But Toncoin, here's another decentralized DeFi chain, $14 billion market cap. Sui, everybody loves Sui right now. $10.5 billion market cap. Okay. Hedera, $5 billion. Look at Caspa, $4 billion. Looks like it's about to fall off a cliff. Filecoin, okay, interesting, $2.6 billion. Okay, most of these aren't even functional yet for much of anything. This is at $2.6 billion. Most of these, I'm going to tell you as someone who's been in crypto for a little while, most of these, next cycle, they won't even be here anymore. I'm telling you right now. A lot of these won't even be here. And some of these are at like, Tron is at $17.5 billion. Avalanche is at $14 billion. I think Avalanche, there's some talk of it being used. Tonchain is decentralized. Let's just take Cardano. around this range. So 25 billion. Let's just say, let's give it a 25 billion. If I were to come over here to Go Pulse and I were to 25 billion, this market cap, it's at 1 billion right now. All right. That would be 25 billion. That means this, if this 25x's, this is going to 50x. Okay. The reason is because half the supply of incentive is bonded via liquidity with these two pools. Okay. So even if there's no buy pressure, even if the farms, people, there's no interest in the farms and all that, this is going up no matter what. That's another important point about it, that no matter what, when these move, this is going up regardless. All right. So you can imagine a 50x on this is going to put this at over $100. Okay. I mean, 125 bucks. Well, what is a 50x on this? Yeah, 125 bucks. All right. 125 bucks. That's just on via liquidity pools. Now, when you come over here and you take into consideration that people will farm it, they're going to extract value because these are going to be competitively priced as PulseChain begins to grow. The layer 1 chain begins to grow. More farms will be added. There'll be other ways to pull in more liquidity, give more of incentive. It is called incentive token. So the price will appreciate dramatically. Just like to keep the network secure on Bitcoin, they incentivize miners to keep running the network. So this chain, the way it's going to incentivize people is to bridge in liquidity to secure the chain, okay? So the price is going to go up dramatically. And as they add better farms and more competitive farms, the demand for this incentive token are going to go up astronomically. And here's the interesting thing. In the beginning, a lot of people will farm this token, sell it onto the market very quickly, and just take the USDT or Ethereum or whatever that is, right? But there'll be a tipping point, just like in Bitcoin. After the first 4-year cycle, it dawned on people that, wait a minute, this thing's going up a lot in value. This thing's going up a lot. Maybe we shouldn't just dump it or sell it for pizzas or buy cars with it. Maybe we should start saving some of it. And that's the same thing that's going to happen here. There's going to be this tipping point that's going to happen, and people are going to go, wait a minute, we need to hold on to some of these. Yeah, you're going to sell some, sure, but you're going to hold on to some too. And that's when the price is going to go absolutely berserk. All right, so you want to hang around for that for sure. Now, where do I think it's going to go? Well, I do believe that incentive token in the near future will hit about $400, okay? A token, okay? So that's about, if I take my $125, it's about 3x from there even, okay? And that's with the farming, the competitiveness of the farming, people taking it off the supply, buying the supply and not selling it in liquidity anymore, not putting it in pools, just holding it, just like they do with Bitcoin or anything else. So that's what's going to drive it up dramatically, okay? Now, where do I think it's going to go past the next year or two? I foresee an incentive token being between $1,500 and $4,000 in the not too distant future, okay? Now, if it just goes to $1,500 a token, I mean, let's do the math right now. If you were to stake in this pool your DAI in Ethereum and you were to put $5,000 in 1 year, you would earn 1,626 incentive token, okay? If one incentive token was $1,500, in 1 year, you would make $2.5 million. And I think that's extraordinarily realistic, okay? And I do think it's going to go closer to like 4,000. So in 1 year, you would have made almost $10 million. Now, this is a few years out, okay? But you have to understand how much this is going to appreciate in value in that similar way that Bitcoin has, okay? Because the supply will begin to dwindle down and there just won't be any available, all right? And there'll be constantly competitive farms for you to stake it, different things on to keep earning it, okay? So people are going to fight over it just in the same way people now fight over Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin now is at, 16 years out from its inception. This is a year and a half out. So you're going to need a few years. We're talking 5-6 years out when you start to see it breaking into the 4-digit numbers, all right? But you might have some put away. You might sell a lot of it. You might keep some and sell it in a couple of years. And then you might have a small a bag that you keep for long duration. If you had done, let's say you had mined 1,000 Bitcoin and you only kept 100 up till now, you're still doing very well, okay? Just even if you had kept 100 to the side and you spent, the other, 9,900 that you had earned back in 2010 or whatever it was. All right, you'd still be doing really well for yourself. So go and check it out. Remember, this is called PulseX Incentive Token. Okay, it's part of the PulseChain ecosystem. All right, and I will. Or right now, this is interesting. I can show you how many holders there are. There's 4,000. Let's see, 44,900 holders. It's gone up. Oh, this is cool. I can show you guys the distribution really quick. I want you guys to see, because it had a fair launch. There's no really whales. I mean, yeah, there are people that have a lot, but look, this guy is only 2% of the supply, and then it's very evenly distributed. Like anything, you've got a handful have like a little more. Maybe they started farming early with big bags. They had a lot of US dye to put in there, whatever. But, it's very nicely distributed, okay? So this is a great opportunity for someone to get in and start farming it. Or let's say you took that 5,000, it's 250 right now. If you bought it off the market times 250, you'd get 12,000. You'd get 12,000 incentive token. All right, you'd have 12,000 incentive token if you just bought it with that $5,000 instead of farming it like we had talked about. All right. So get out there, check this out, learn all about it. If you have any questions, send them to me. This is an opportunity to buy a lot of clean underwear, people. All right, for your whole family line for like 50 generations. Just trust me. You don't even understand it. Just get 1,000. Just get 1,000, put them in a wallet, and just forget about them. All right, that's my best advice. If you don't want to do the farming and learn this and learn that, just get 1,000 of these and put them aside and just forget about it. And one day, you'll be extraordinarily wealthy. Incentives is king. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.